Our today's guest is Adrien Blackwell, and this is going to be an awesome chat. She is a gifted energy healer. She teaches other people how to become healers themselves. She's a creator of Adrien Blackwell Healing Method, and we will have a really fun conversation about how all of that fits into being the true self. So welcome, Adrien.
Thank you for having me. And we've already had a great chat before this. So I'm like, this is going to be fun.
Awesome. So let's start by you telling us what is it that you do, because you were an energy healer directly, then you started to teaching others how to do that. So I'm very curious to hear about that transition, and I think it would be very useful for our audience to know.
Yeah. So overall, just as a human being and as a person who heals people one-on-one, I actually help women. And I help women who want to create love because they focus their whole entire lives on their career and they're tired of it. But the reason that they've been doing it is because they feel like they can't figure out love. It's where they have their control. So this is where I used to be years ago. So I attract literally the clients that I used to be. So I love working with them. And one day I realized that I didn't want to have, hundreds of clients because I don't have enough energy to go around to everybody. But I was like, but how do I help people do what I do so that I don't have to do all the work? We can have thousands of people around the globe who helps women do this or helps however they're going to help people, whether it's with the disease, money, relationships. And so I started teaching my healing method so that other people could do the same thing in their own way.
Oh, this is so awesome. And it sounds like this issue of women sacrificing something to succeed is like what you're kind of dancing around in there. And that is one of the biggest, I think, problems in the coaching industry, is that women especially feel like they have to put their life on hold to go their business start it, and then once they get to six figures, then they're going to be okay. But I work with women who already at six figures and multi six figures and seven figures, and they all like stress because now they have a team to manage and something else. So it's almost like it never ends, and that's whereas the space and time for me, and we all want to have it all.
You are using my favorite words. That's what I tell people. I work with women and only women who want it all. If you just want your love life, but you want to struggle when it comes to money because you don't think you can have it all, that's not my person. My person is literally the person who says, I want, a great family life. I don't want to have to deal with family drama. I just want it to be nice and calm and peaceful and love my family and have them respect me, because that's a lot of issues that these women have. They want the relationship. They want a loving, caring relationship. They want the job. They want the money, but they want the time to spend on these things, which a lot of people don't have, men and women. When they go into these businesses or they start their own business and they're doing all this work, they don't have time. So how do you make more money and then have the time to enjoy all these things that you're creating? That is a full package. And so when I work with people, I'm like, what is the one thing that you want right now? Because we'll start with a goal, because that is your foundation. The thing that drives you the most, the thing that brings you the most pleasure, the thing that puts a smile on your face. When you think about it, you're like, I have to have this. That is your foundation. And from there, when we heal that, everything else grows.
And tell us a little bit more in a practical sense. Like, let's pick something. Like, let's say she knows that she wants a relationship. She knows she wants family time. She knows she wants time to go for walks or journal or whatever, but she really wants to get her business to like amazing level. Like, let's say she has a vision of, I don't know, seven figures, but right now she's barely at 100,000. So the gap is like, huge, right? But she holds on to that vision. This is what I want. And then it feels like, well, then I can't have the family, the relationship, anything else, because this is the priority where I put all my effort. And let's say she's one of those overachievers, overdoers, type of people that I work with, that kind of like goes, and then runs out of energy and burns out. So how would you approach that?
Well, you said practical. I don't work in practical. If you want to go to practicality, you have to go to a coach, you have to go to a psychologist. I don't do practical. What I do is I find out from the person, the individual themselves, by reading their energy. Mm-hmm. Is it love that we're supposed to be focusing on? Is it money that we're supposed to be focusing on? I had a client, perfect example, and she really wanted to focus on money. She wanted a new job. She hadn't had a job in a couple of years since COVID. She's like, I want a job. I need money. I want a job. And I said, no. If you work with me, we focus on love and only love, because that's what I'm reading from you. Mm-hmm. We can't create the money without creating some healing in your love life. It will heal everything. I promise you. So we're focusing on love for about 4 weeks, and her boyfriend joins in, and all of a sudden everything's healing. Her family life is healing. Her relationship with her boyfriend is healing. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. This is amazing. Issues that I've had for years gone. gone. So she tried to convince me to start working on money. And I said, no, that's not what we do. We're going to keep focusing on this. And all of a sudden, a job offer comes through and she got exactly what she wanted and more. But we have to
That
find
is
out from the
so
person
cool.
themselves, what is your foundation? Because the foundation isn't the same for each and every person. So I work on an energetic level when it comes to that.
Yeah, and it's really cool what you're saying from the perspective. It's like instead of listening to the ego idea of what it wants, you're listening to the energetics, right?
Yes.
So
Yes,
what
I
would be
love
the
how you're pulling that
categories?
out. Yes, 100% what you're saying. We have this ego that says, well, we have to have money. We have to have
Right.
money to survive. We need it in the bank account. That's how I look like an adult, is for me to have money. And I'm like, yeah, no.
Uh-huh. So what would be the categories that you would be pulling from? Like love is one, probably relationship would fall into that, or self-love in a relationship. Money is another. What other categories would there
So we
be?
have family, because family is our foundation growing up. So for many people, it's still their foundation. The family is the issue. And if you can't break away from the family in a healthy way and create, a brand new relationship as an adult, there's going to be an issue and we can't work on anything else. So for some people, it's family. For some people, it's money. For some people, it's love. And for some people, it's their divine purpose. What are you here for? And if you're not understanding your purpose, you may not understand anything else about your life. It just doesn't make sense. And so
Mm-hmm.
what we like to call this is star seeds. People who feel like they're not from here, they feel like Earth is foreign.
Yeah, all
They may
my
not even
audience.
understand. Right?
Yeah, we all star seeds here.
The biggest way I can explain this is you feel like not only were you just dropped here from somewhere else, but money seems really foreign to you. Even if you're making money, the concept of money on this planet just doesn't make sense to people. And they're like, I just can't get a grasp on love, money. Like none of it makes sense. It seems backwards on planet Earth to people who are not from here. And so when we start to acclimate them to Earth's energy, to the frequency of Earth, they were like, it's home now temporarily. Today we're going to make it home. And the perfect example of this is whenever I'd move, because I moved in so many different places, because I was always doing television or radio or something like that, so I'm always jumping from place to place. My daughter was like, I'm tired, I don't want to do this anymore, why can't we put pictures on the wall? And I was like, I've never made my home a home, because I don't feel like Earth is my home. So why don't I start here, just within the home, putting pictures up and making it a home, and actually ground my energy to planet Earth for now and see what happens. And literally everything changed. And so a lot of people actually need healing because they're traumatized by coming here in the first place. And so we'll look at any traumas that have come up, and a lot of people don't remember this stuff. But if I pinpoint something, if I see it and I call it, they'll be like, oh, I felt like that my whole life. Oh my God, I remember when. And all of a sudden these memories start coming up and we're able to heal that trauma from coming here from somewhere else. So it's really amazing, some of the stuff that we get into. It's not the normal everyday stuff that people think of when they think I want to make more money. It's like, if we can heal your trauma and we can just acclimate you to Earth's energy so that you can understand love, you can understand money, money will come in, love will come in.
That is so true. And it's kind of funny, the example you were giving with the pictures on the walls. I always tell my Starseed clients is that think of it like you're in a hotel, but you still have to unpack. You have to take stuff out of your suitcase and put it in the drawers and stuff. You're going to stay here for a while instead of thinking like this is just, you got to live out of your suitcase and never really unpack because you're ready to go. And then you're wondering, why is it not feeling like home?
It's so perfect.
Yeah.
That is so
So,
perfect. I
and
feel
this,
that when you say, yeah, that actually makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of the things you're talking about, like the money, for example, it's mm, money as energy always made sense to me, but money in a material sense with all the drama around it didn't. And I kind of like had to work at figuring out how to materialize the money from the energy state. But a lot of my clients, they were even further, like money as an energy even didn't make sense according to the rules of the simulation here on the planet Earth. So I totally get how understanding the energetics kind of behind it would probably help your clients tremendously anchor that in some sort of a material thing without going after it directly, right?
Yes, because just as you explained, like it just doesn't, the concept here, it is kind of backwards. It doesn't really make sense, other than the fact that money has been used for so long as a power move.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't want to do something, I'm going to hire you to do it. And then I'm going to tell you how I want you to do it. And I get to have all this control over what gets done. And so many people see this control in so many areas that they're like, I don't want to have anything to do with that. And then we pass it on to our children. They pass it on. So we have this for generation after generation after generation for thousands of years. And so a lot of that has to be cleared on even a genetic level, because
Right.
that doesn't make sense to try to control somebody when they're happy to do the work because they want to make the money, especially if you love what you're doing. Like,
Mhm.
there doesn't have to be a power struggle, but we have that issue on planet Earth itself as a power struggle. So we have to create new dynamics with the authority and how we feel about authority. And then we have to be okay being an authority and knowing how to use our energetic or energy. I'm trying to think of the word authoritatively. I think that's a word.
Mhm.
And using it the right way. And so that starts to change those dynamics energetically so that money can come in. But we always have so many different stories around money that we have to start clearing those stories, but it always comes from somewhere else. I always say that money, love, and family issues are generally a symptom of a problem. It's not the real problem.
I agree. And I think a lot of times people say, like, oh, I'm not money driven, but they're using it more like a bypassing mechanism so they don't have to deal with what's there, because somehow within their belief system, it's more appropriate to be all loving and supporting and everybody gets everything. But, you know, we live in a world where you actually have to kind of do something to show up and get results and at the same time be in integrity.
You have to have money to
Yeah.
survive for the most part. There's only a few people on this planet who can actually live a certain way and not have to have money to survive. And when you look at their lifestyle, you're like, I don't want that. So they're clear on what kind of lifestyle they want, but they don't want to create the money to do it because there's so many, trauma, belief systems, ancestral stuff
Hmm.
around it. So it is really interesting to hear people say, like, I just want to be comfortable. Well, what does that mean? Who are you helping if you're just comfortable? You say
Hmm.
you want to help people, you say you want to make a difference in this world, but you're not willing to accumulate enough money to make a difference in this world or to help other people. So it's really so much so about changing the mindset, but what's creating the mindset as well.
Oh, this is so true. And everything you're saying, it's like when we, like my clients and in my world, we look at money, we always look from the standpoint of where is the origin point of the belief, like what's the actual issue. And I always talk about how money is not for you. Money is a service. It's an energy that goes through you. So it's not about like, do you have enough to pay your bills? I mean, ideally, yeah, because that's just normal state of being. But why not have an overflow so that you can, I don't know, bring back Amazon forest or buy part of, some land or do something to clean up the ocean. Like the more money flows through you, the more you can actually do in this world.
I love that so much. My coach was saying there needs to be a shift between people who have money that are in control that aren't really spiritual and they're just kind of destroying things to people who want to make things better having the money. So that means that the majority of us that are spiritual and we want to make a difference need to become millionaires. We need to become billionaires. We need to be the ones who are making the money so that we can actually make a difference on this planet. So money is a really big part of that. It may not be the foundation of what we clear, but it's a byproduct of the healing itself.
Oh, so true. So in your methodology, how does one have it all? Does it begin with like the root problem and then from that healing everything else sort of like a ripple effect? Like I'm just
So
really
yeah,
in
it's
your
it's
field here.
more like a ripple effect. But let's say that you were coming to me as a client and you wanted to heal your relationship with your husband, right? And so I said, let's see if that's really where we need to go. And I see that it's actually energetics. It's ancestral. This has nothing to do with you. It's a burden you've carried, but it's not really your problem. So we can't heal it within you just by working on your problems and the problem that you would have with your significant other. We would have to go into the ancestry, and a lot of times what they'll do is they'll come to me and tell me what started this issue in the first place. So there's probably a story in your family lineage, could be thousands of years, could be hundreds of years. The furthest I went back, I think was 32,000 years. And I was like, what? Like you've been holding on to that for that long? That's crazy. And so we go back there and I hear the story and I tell the person the story. Now, a lot of times when it's a lot closer, it's only been in the last 3 generations, they actually know what I'm talking about. I have no way of knowing it, but I can hear the ancestors and they can confirm everything that I'm getting. And so we'll talk to the ancestors and we'll figure out how can we heal this within this person so they're no longer carrying this burden. And a lot of times people in the ancestry will actually show up and ask, can they receive the healing? And then they pass it on. So we would start with that foundation of finding out the problem. Why are you having the problem that you're having? Is it really yours or isn't it? And then we start clearing it from that perspective. Now, when that starts to clear, other things in your life tend to get better. People, this is my favorite thing. When people start to heal, a lot of times they get windfalls. Like money comes unexpectedly from nowhere. It doesn't make any sense. Like refunds that you should have got 20 years ago appear all of a sudden. And you're like, well, how did that happen? I'm not asking. It's a miracle. Miracles happen. We're just going to take it for what it is. But all of a sudden, all this money starts coming in, or people start to see them differently. And I'll give you an example of this one. It's one of my favorite ones. It's one of what we would consider a smaller example versus the really big, grand things that can come, but they can come in all different shapes and sizes. So one lady I was working on, we were working on her. We were just working on her and her energetics and how she was perceiving things. I call this their filter. So why is your filter all muddied? Why does everything go in? It gets filtered into something kind of yucky, not trusting people, not feeling good. And she told me a story about her mother. She's a Black woman. She has Afro hair and she likes to wear it all natural. And her mom would be like, you need to straighten it. You need to wear a wig. You need to get extensions, like all of these things for 40 years. So I cleared it within her. We can't change your mom. I'm not here to change your mother. She probably will change, but that's not my job. So my job is to make you feel confident in yourself and be okay with the choices that you're making. Whether we have to clear it ancestral or within you, that's what I'm doing right now. So after one session, she goes to her mother's house. I think it was like 2 days later, and her mom complimented her real hair for the first time in her life. She didn't need it.
That is awesome.
After the healing, she didn't need it, but she got it. And
because
that's
she didn't need it, probably.
Right? And what I like to tell people is we are here to create an experience. We are here to experience whatever we want on this planet. We have so many choices. It's like choosing a vacation. Would you choose to go on vacation just to stay in a hotel room? That's what a lot of us are doing. Like if you really want to go on vacation, you're probably going to plan a cruise or going to plan a bus trip or go visit a museum or go taste different restaurants. But you have a choice, and people don't look at their lives like that. They don't look at it like we are actually here to learn, to grow, and to experience. So we start to look at the experiences you want to create in your life in all areas, and we start to manifest them into reality by clearing whatever block it is that's stopping you from living it. But it's just an experience. We're literally here to have an experience. What experience do you want?
That is so cool. And I think the main thing that stops a lot of people from that who associate themselves with this idea of being a starseed is that they feel like they're on vacation in the bad zone. Like they in a country where there's war going on and they in a hotel and it's dangerous to leave the hotel. So they staying in the hotel, kind of like reading books or something or meditating, but afraid to step outside and explore. And I would say the main issue would be to help them understand they're not in a war zone.
I feel that too. I'm just like, yeah, that's exactly how we feel when we come here. I was one of those people. That's exactly how it feels. Like, oh, there's so much happening out there. And it's so foreign to us. That's the thing, especially when you come from a really loving place. It's so foreign to you to see what's happening on the news or hearing the neighbors argue. You're like, what is happening? But you get to choose your own experience. You get to find the peace. You get to find the pleasure. You get to find the things that you want to find, because like my guides once told me, life is a smorgasbord. You don't look at everything on the table and go, I don't like that. You should take it off the table. Nobody should have access to that because I don't like it. You would never do that. You would only pick and choose the things that you want. Life is the same way. We need to stop trying to change everybody else, stop trying to take everything out of the planet we don't like, and just create more of what we do want and see how that changes things.
Yeah. And wouldn't you say that the frequency at which one broadcasts out into the world then defines their reality? So kind of like if we continue the metaphorical hotel room here, imagine that hotel room is in the penthouse versus in the first floor. So instead of now seeing all the whatever dirty stuff on the bottom, you can be at the top. You're still located in the same place, but frequency-wise, you're vibrating different. Now you're looking outside and it's suddenly very pretty instead of whatever you were seeing before, but you're still in the same location.
And the penthouse would make me want to unpack my stuff.
There you go. And then
even if I'm here for a week, I'm going to pretend like I live here for a week. Yeah. So let me unpack it. Completely different frequency and energy. Absolutely 100%. Yes.
Yeah. So back to creating it all, having it all. How does desire connect to that? Like people often, like I hear in my world, because it's entrepreneurship. So they say, well, I desire to have, I don't know, 20 clients to come in from this launch, or I desire to get my business this year to this level. And there is a fine line between having a desire, open broadcast, and vibrating with the universe versus making it a rigid goal and then suffering through survival towards that goal. So how does that translates in your world? What would you do with someone like that who says, well, I want this thing, but I'm unhappy because I don't have the thing?
I love this question because really, honestly, how I operate, I just had a client yesterday. It was so funny. It's the first time we're working together, but she's taken a class with me. So she already knows about the energetics. And so I said, I just want to hear you talk. Because once I hear you talk, you're going to tell me all your blocks. We don't really hide things. So just talk to me. So she goes, you want to hear all my lies? And we just started laughing. I was like, absolutely. Because what we usually speak is not the truth. So I don't listen to what people want as far as taking at face value. I listen to what you tell me you want. And then I look at what the soul truly wants. Because a lot of times when you're saying I want something and you don't really want it, you just don't create it. So you create nothing except what you don't want. But when I can get to the soul's idea of what it wants to experience, it's usually a lot larger than what you're asking for. It's better than what you're asking for. There's more meaning behind it. You have a bigger role on this planet once you step into it. And that can feel really uncomfortable to people. And they're like, no, that's not what I want. Well, let's see what happens after we do the healing. Let's do a few sessions and you tell me what it is that you're changing, experiencing, and what you desire. It always changes. It always changes. And so when they're like, okay, I want 20 clients from this launch. Do you want 20 clients from this launch or do you want a specific amount of money? There's a difference. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to work with people because you have fun working with people, you're going to attract the clients. If you want money and you're asking to get that money through the clients, then you're not going to attract the money because you're not asking for what you really want. I'm one of those people who just enjoy making money. I actually really love the energy, the frequency of money. I love how to help people with money. I love what I do with my money. I really enjoy money. So if I want to attract money, I'm just going to, universe, just bring it to me. But see, I love when people pay me. So I'm like, I'm willing to take free money. I'm willing to just get more clients. Like I'm willing to accept it on thousands of levels, universe. Like just bring it in because I know that's what I desire. But if I just really liked working with people and I really want to get paid for it because I don't want to do it for free, then I would manifest working with people versus money. So it's really about getting that clarity on what people really want to experience is how they're going to manifest in the first place.
Oh, this is so true. And this is like one of the biggest things that we always end up digging in with the clients, right? To find what is it that you really want. Like we can use the same example, but from the negative, like let's say somebody is procrastinating on an action that she knows will get her business grow. Like, let's say she has like, okay, I need to do this, this, and that. And let's say they're legitimate things. She's not making them up. This is just like normal part of business, but she's choosing not to do them because there's always something else comes up, something else. So it's like this avoidance procrastination thing, because probably underneath it, the desire is something different. Maybe she desires space. She thinks she desires business. And then she translates that business would mean no space. Would you agree?
Yes. But people like that, honestly, when I look at them, I'm like, so you really don't want to work for money. Mm-hmm. And they'll be like, yeah, but I don't want to admit that. If you don't admit it, we can't create it. Mm-hmm. So people who don't really want to work for money, there's an underlying reason. Maybe they think they can't do the thing that they really want to do for money. And then we find out what they really want to do and start pushing them in that direction. Or they're just interested in money and they really don't want to put the work into it. But even those people, sometimes people do start making money without, like they get an inheritance, trust fund, something. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times they start to find something that really costs them because they're focused on what they really want, which is just the money, not working. And they'll be offered something that they really enjoy. And they're like, it's like, I'm not even working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I very much agree with you as far as that money it's just energy. Like it doesn't have to be connected to anything. And I'm also like you, I like money. So I've always made money. Money always came to me and I didn't care how, as long as it was in integrity, like I didn't have to do something that was out of alignment. Just money showed up. It was not linked to people. Like money didn't come from people. Money just came from the universe and people came because I wanted to serve. Those were two separate territories. Yep. It actually took a while to combine them for me. But I think that that's so true that for a lot of people, understanding that they want the next level of their life that includes different level of money, but they might not want to do it in the way that they think they're supposed to, which is the hardship and hustle and everything. It doesn't mean that they can't have a business. It just means that they might need to change their idea what business is. You know, like you can have 10 clients at 10,000 and be at 100,000 versus you can have, you know, hundreds of clients at $100 sessions in order to get there. You can work 40-hour, 50-hour weeks, or you can just work one day a week and make the same amount of money. It's a choice, but with that choice, would you say that a lot of internal growth has to happen? Because they have to be able to hold the receiving without
with
the...
any, it's really, for me, it's just a switch in language. I don't talk about much around holding the frequency or holding energy. It's literally just healing to change. It's literally, if we can heal our traumas and we can heal the things that are burdening us, we naturally just kind of lift off like birds and we're free. You know, we're free to have choices and have the experiences that we want. So it's always, to me, about healing. I will always use the word healing because I feel like it's the secret to actually manifesting. It's, you know, and people look how you look at healing is different for each and every person. But even when a coach comes in to coach you and they're like, I'm going to give you an exercise to do this week that forces you out of your comfort zone. If you take on that challenge and you move beyond your comfort zone, you're healing. You're healing something in you. So I hear all these spiritual, you know, channelers, I hear spiritual gurus, and people always talk about this. You know, you have to come from a place of peace, and you have to, you know, pet the dog, and you have to, you know, manifest positive thoughts. And I'm like, none of that works if you have something that needs to be healed. That's why it only works some of the time. Healing works all of the time in one way, shape, or form in varying degrees, but it works because we're healing whatever the root cause is that is getting you this result that you don't want in the first place. However you describe that is however you describe it, but it always comes down to, no matter who you are and what you do, if you're helping people shift and transform, you're actually healing.
So can you say a little more as to what healing is, as to the way you do it?
So the way I do it, I can see energetic blocks, right? And we went over this a little bit before. Like if the energetic block is your ancestry, then I will talk to your ancestors. I will have them come forward and I will listen to the story, because a lot of times healing is simply listening. If you let somebody speak and they can tell you the truth about something that happened that they haven't talked about before, they weren't given a chance to before they died, a lot of times that's healing enough. But sometimes you'll have ancestors that come in that are healed already, and they said, well, I can heal this trauma. I can take this from them. We don't have to carry in this in the family lineage anymore. So we're actually clearing the DNA. Sometimes it's something that you've experienced, because I always heal on 4 levels. So we have the ancestral level, but we also have the journey itself. Did you make an agreement? Because nobody in here in Earth, nobody comes to Earth without a challenge. When we're here, we are challenged with something. So if you made an agreement to have this specific challenge, that this is the thing I need to overcome so I can find my strength, so that I'll find healing, or I'll find, you know, whatever it is that you want to find, then we have to heal it on that level. We have to heal it. And I call that the journey. We have to heal the journey. You heal the ancestry. You heal the trauma that has happened in this lifetime, or we heal the trauma from a previous lifetime. Those are the only 4 things that you can really heal to clear any and everything that's been a problem in your life. But you have to look at where it actually stemmed from, and then we can heal other little things along the way, because sometimes we have created so much trauma in our lives thinking that something is so true that we kind of branch off and create other little traumas. But I clear the foundation first, and then usually it's only 1 or 2 other things that need to be cleared and it's healed.
Wow. So from the human personality within this healing experience, would she be feeling this as letting go of something, or as gratitude towards something, or like what would be the client's experience?
Every client experienced something different. So some of them feel nothing. They're like, I don't think this is working because I don't feel anything. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, guess what happened? And they start telling you all the testimonials and the miracles that are happening in their life. You don't have to feel anything for it to work. Some people, I have one client, she says, she goes, every time I have a session with you, I lose an eyelash, because she starts crying. So her false eyelashes fall off, right? And that's the way it can feel for some people. It's like, you know, they're losing their eyelashes because they're emotional. Other people, they will just feel like something has come off of them. Like I remember not too long ago, I was actually working with a group of people, and one of the people in the group, after I was done with the healing, said something left my body, and I was like, I know you had an entity. I watched it. I saw it. And she actually felt it leave. And then you feel lighter and you feel like you are back in your body. There's not somebody else there dictating what happens. And so it can be so many different experiences that people feel. Laughing. I actually have one healing that I have where people just throw up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yes, you can have a physical release.
So sometimes, it's a physical.
Throw up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it can actually help you have a physical release. And I find a lot of health issues, because I've actually worked with people who have had cancer and they felt during the healing the cancer disappear, and the doctor confirmed it.
Mm-hmm.
Cysts that can only be removed through surgery disappears, and the doctor confirms it. Depression medication, they work with their doctors to get off of it, because only after a session or two they don't need it anymore. So those are also ways that people can experience healing. But I can name so many different ways, from burping to like, oh my God, my stomach's feeling a little queasy. But a lot of times that's the physical healing that's actually happening when they feel that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have healing would happen on all the levels of the energy field. So the release, they just probably experience only at the level that their awareness exists at during this moment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, this is really cool. And, you and I can speak for like next 10 hours because there's just so many things we can talk about. But to wrap this up, I know you have an awesome free gift for our audience. So can you speak a little bit about that?
So I have a free gift page. And so what that means is that you'll be able to get this link. You'll go there and there'll be things that you can download, click, read, watch. But they're all healing. And so you actually can go through the healing, because healing, it doesn't matter whether it's live with me. It doesn't matter if I, did a healing here and then all of a sudden you click play on it, 2 years later, it would work the same, because energy has no time and no space. Right. And so a lot of people that tell me about their results, they're actually just listening to the recording. So I wanted to give your audience a bunch of these recordings so that they can start their healing process now.
Oh, this is so awesome. And my God, thank you, Adrien. This is will be absolutely cool. So the gift link is in the show notes or under this video. If you're watching this on video on YouTube, make sure you check it out. It will be really good. And tell us how people can find you.
AdrienBlackwell.com is the easiest place to find me. Email me, look through what I do, watch some videos, have some fun. Take some time off, get some tea and put your feet up and watch a few videos, and I'll see you on the other side.
Awesome. Awesome. So thank you so much for being here and for sharing your wisdom and your light. And we all really appreciate it.
Thank you.